Hey, everybody, welcome back to Entrepreneur TV. I am so happy that you're here with us tonight. I have just a treat for you. And although technology has always been my friend, tonight it doesn't want to be my friend, and I don't know why. So if you just give me a minute, I'm going to go ahead and invite our guest. You're in for a real treat. He's a wonderful, wonderful man. I actually met him, and I know from the bottom of my heart that we have all these things in common. We both are just addicted to, we're both, hey, how are you, everyone? And thank you for saying hi. Hi, Melissa, how are you? I'm so happy that you're here with me connecting. Yes, I have a special guest for us coming on board, and hopefully he can click on. But like I was saying, I love this man. We have so many things in common. I know he's like really avid about what he learns. He's very into learning from people that have already done it before, people that have already proven the models, different entrepreneur. This is Entrepreneur TV. This is what we talk about here. And it's just like amazing because the fact is that we want to talk to everybody and just kind of get, oh, great. Let me say hi to Melissa. Yes, I'm doing well. Thank you so much. My Memorial Day was great. How was yours? I hope yours was good. I actually got time to spend it with my kids, which I usually do. I make a lot of time for my family and, love to cook, love to be a mom. So I had a little bit of time with my kids and then had a little bit of time with friends. And so that was the most funnest day, right? Because you always want to have fun. But my point is, and I want to go back and I'm going to introduce, his name is Tom Beal. I just super love Tom. We have so much in common, like I told you before. We both value the importance of family. We both value the importance of learning and just what it takes to be a leader. And if you haven't heard me before and you're hearing me for the first time, you already should know that I value and that I believe that we are leaders in everything we do, whether it's our family, our community, our business, our social connections, our relationships. So I'm so excited to hear what he has to say. So I'm going to bring him on board and let's give a warm welcome to Tom. Don't forget to say hello. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Hey, what's happening? Good to be here. I am excited and I totally agree. We are leaders of our family. We are leaders of our business. We are leaders of our community. And I say that regardless of what role you are in your business. I remember when I was first learning of Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy in the late 80s and early 90s, one of the things that got ingrained in my mind early on was regardless of what your position is, if you're an employee, you are the CEO of your professional services corporation. And then you happen to have your one client who is your employer as your main client. That's it. Right?
Absolutely.
So
agreed. Yes.
The CEO and president of your own personal services company. So congratulations. If you didn't know that, you now are CEO and president of your own company right now. And it's my goal to share with you some insights that I feel in this brief time we're going to spend together can dramatically and powerfully change the trajectory of your life. And this is going to be a training that actually I knew with the time that we have, I was like, you know what, I'm going to share what has been named the $25,000 training. And the reason that it's been the $25,000 training is I've hosted 2 masterminds in the island of Tenerife. It's a Canary Islands outside of Spain. And each time there were 12 individuals who each invested 25,000 euro to be there a piece. So that's a little over $25,000. And at the end of this particular training that we're going to talk about today, both times I asked the audience, I said, hey, from the investment that you made here, which was not small, who feels you got your money worth with this one training alone? All the hands went up. Everybody agreed this training alone was worth $25,000. So let me ask you here live, do you think you're ready for a $25,000 training? Put a yes if you're ready to learn something that can dramatically take your results from where you are to where you want to be. And keep in mind, the people that were able to invest 25,000 euro already had some great success. And What I'm going to share with you, regardless of what your starting point is today, just starting out with a brand new idea, or guess what? In these unique times that we're in, you had a successful business a few weeks ago and everything changed. You know what? I'm guilty of that. I had a business that was running pretty nicely that everything got turned topsy-turvy, flipped up on its head. And that's called life. And entrepreneurs, know that stuff happens. Forrest Gump said it best.
I do want to say something in regards to what you just mentioned, Tom, and I wanted to mention in regards to the $25,000 coaching. And the reason I was really excited to have you on is because one of the things that actually has transformed my life since the dawn of time, since I've started in this industry, has been knowledge, and I actually admire the way that you take time to number one, walk 2 hours a day. I don't know if you're still doing that, but then also I understand that you're as eager as I am to soak up all the books that you can get your hands on. But definitely one of the biggest transformations for myself was when I had $0 as a teenager. I was 19, $0. And I decided one day, I said, okay, this conference is charging $10,000. Am I going to go? Yes or no? Going to that conference forever changed my life. And so this is why I'm so excited to have you here. Because yes, we're asking people to raise your hand. And I'm not even asking people to raise your hand in the comments. I'm actually asking you to comment on there. Are you prepared and ready to soak up everything that Tom has to offer for us tonight? Because absolutely before it used to be one conference at $10,000, $25,000, whatever the cost may have been. But nowadays, we have life experience and education right here in front of our own computers in the comfort of our own home, in our pajamas. We're saving the ticket to fly there. We're saving all these other extra headaches. But here we are with the Master Tom Beal. So please make sure that you ask questions. And by the way, Tom, this is an interactive event. Okay. So a lot of people will start asking questions. You'll see the questions show up at the bottom. And just give us what you got, because I'm eager to learn, and I want to see what you have, because I feel like every time I talk to you, I get a golden nugget, and then, I have to make a note of it, because I'm not going to lie. Once I implement it and test it out, for sure, it's going to make a difference to the bottom line. So tell me, and not even money-wise, I do want to say something about that, because I know you're a big believer on this as well. You have impacted and influenced $25 million in online sales. Myself, my numbers are very giant that I sometimes don't repeat them because I can't even believe it myself. But my point to all of that, it's not even about the money. It's about how your life works as an entrepreneur from all these things that you've experienced. So I want to just tell everybody that we're in for a real nice suite. So please remember, we're interactive, Tom. If you're watching us right now, and thank you for following us since day one. Thank you for coming on tonight. If you're watching the replay, make sure that you still put in your questions. We still answer those questions, even though you're on a replay. And make sure you share if you're getting any great golden nuggets from Tom or myself tonight. So go ahead, Tom. Tell us about this life-changing, altering training that you're going to share, because I honestly, I have my notes out just right away.
You're going to love this. You're going to love this. So here's the first statement for you to hear and consider. Lack of clarity is the root of all failure.
Oh, I love that.
Let that settle in. Lack of clarity is the root of all failure. Think back on your history. Think back when you were clear. Here's where I am. Here's where I'm going. Get out of my way, because I'm going there, right? And obstacles are going to surely cross your path. There's going to be things that are unexpected that aren't going to make it a simple journey, yet you're still going to make it. You're going to persevere. You're going to push through to get from where you are to where you want to be. So what we're going to do is the antithesis of that, which is if that's true, lack of clarity is the root of all failure. This brief yet powerful life-changing training we're going to talk about that numerous people agreed was worth their investment of 25,000 euro apiece. You too will gain the ante of that, of having the clarity, which will give you the root of all success. And let me just state, in this time that we're in now, when you have clarity, you separate yourself from at least 98 out of 100 people. Wow. Because a lot of those people who had businesses a couple weeks ago and or had jobs a couple weeks ago, whatever the case may be, what they have is a lot of uncertainty. They're not sure. They're not clear. They don't know what to do. So this simple process will help you gain clarity, which will help you gain your confidence, will help you gain your plan of action, will help you gain getting up early and staying up late, because you're committed, you're desiring, and you're knowing exactly what is yours to do each and every moment of the day. So let's start with the basics. So we'll talk business, because we're all here looking to learn how to grow our business and our results. So we'll focus on business. Yet this same strategy can be applied to your health, can be applied to your relationships, and any other important thing in your life. But we're going to stick specifically to business. So here's the first thing. And prior to me telling you the first thing, I'm going to share something that I learned from one of my mentors, Jim Rohn. Was able to meet him and spend time with him before he passed away. And he shared with me this: things that are easy to do are easier not to do. So what I'm going to share with you is easy to do, yet in this day and age, even with all this extra time some of you may have, it's getting caught up in the news or caught up in all these other distractions where you can say, oh yeah, that was pretty cool, but I'll get to it later. And later means never. So I will say this, and when I say it, I want you to bust out your calendar and schedule a time, 20 to 30 minutes to do this first exercise. So related to your business, this first exercise is the preface and sets up the 4 simple questions that we're going to be asking and answering that go back to this simple task. This simple task is break out a piece of blank paper, and on that piece of paper, here's what I want you to write: a brain dump of everything that you do related to your business in a given month. Everything you do, even the minimum wage activities, even the things that you feel, well, I'm kind of embarrassed to even admit I do that. Why do I drive to the post office, every week? Why do I do these things which I know I could have someone else do? Why do I do these things, right? Especially write those down. I learned from my other mentor, one of many, Marshall Silver. He calls those minimum wage activities, MWAs. You want to write down those MWAs on that piece of paper. It may be the front of it, the back of it, and another sheet of paper, as long as it takes to dump down everything that you do in a given month related to your business. It's very important. And like I said, things that are easy to do are easier not to do. So some people have I heard the training, Tom, and I said, okay, great. Did you do the first step? Well, doesn't fit in the answer of yes or no. Right? And the only answer that's going to work is if you work it and you actually do it, right? We all can agree that if you have to take these 4 steps and you don't take the first step, here's one of my other mentors, Zig Ziglar. I was fortunate to spend time with and meeting him prior to him passing as well. Said 100% of the time, people that don't take the first step don't take the second step.
Wow.
Right. Very powerful. So this is all the preface. This is all. So I'm saying this to stress the importance of this. It's simple to do, yet it's simpler not to do. And I'm encouraging you to do this. You're going to have an epiphany when you do this. Take that blank sheet of paper, write down everything that you do, all the tasks, everything you do in a given month related to your business, down to the smallest to the biggest. Now, once that's done, we move into these 4 questions. And these 4 questions are going to give you the clarity that's going to be mind-numbingly simple, yet is going to be the key to you having the clarity which is going to lead to your success. Because that quote we started at the beginning, lack of clarity is the root of all failure. You're no longer going to have this problem, whether it's health, relationships, or business. For this particular topic, business. Okay, now that you've done that, we go to question number 1. There's 4 questions in this process. First question is, what do I need to start doing? Sounds pretty simple. What do I need to start doing? But let me dig a little deeper in what that means. If you're hearing that question after you've done all that work and you've written down all the things that you do in a given month related to your business, the last thing people are thinking is, I need to add more to that list. What do I need to start doing? I'm already doing so much, right? You're already doing so much, right? Well, the good news is the answer to that is only one thing. And here's how we come to the answer of this one thing. Of all the things that you're currently doing in a given month related to your business, here's how you find the answer to the first question. What do I need to start doing? What's the one thing that you're currently not doing that has the potential to 10x your results? Let that settle in for a second. So this is a big question with a big answer, and here's some ideas, some examples for you. So for some businesses, that answer might be, you know what? One of the things that I haven't done yet is I haven't written a book. And I know, and I've watched certain marketers, I watched certain businesses where how they write that book. Now the book doesn't become the Harry Potter, in most cases, but the book becomes another marketing channel, which if you look at a lot of successful marketers have gone the free plus shipping model, have gone a whole bunch of different marketing strategies that can cast that net much wider to grow people's awareness of who you are, what you do, and how you serve them through the tool of a book. That's one possibility. Another possibility is, you know what? Of all the things that I'm currently doing, I'm not doing webinars. I'm not doing live trainings like we're all participating in this evening. I'm not doing live events. Now is a unique time where live events aren't allowed in the world at this particular moment. They will be allowed. Live events have been very transformational in my life and my results. And so some people, it might be, you know what? We're not doing infomercials. we know infomercials has a potential to 10x our business. We're not doing direct mail. You see what I'm saying? So I'm planting out some ideas for you to discern what's the things for you. So I would recommend you come up with 3 of possibilities of the possible answers to that first question. What's the one thing that we're not currently doing that if we did has the potential to 10x our results? And let me just hit time out here. We're not talking a little bit more results. We're not talking incremental. We're talking exponential differences in your results. 10x is a really big jump from 100,000 to a million to 10 million, 10 million to 100 million. That's a big jump. It's not more of what you're already doing. I'm sure we all agree you can't work 10 times harder of the things that you're currently doing. That answer is something that makes you think a little bigger, a little differently, to really narrow it down to what are the 3 possibilities. And then you're not going to do all 3. What's the one? What's the one that's the answer to what do I need to start doing? So then
I love that.
That alone is super powerful. That's
For
super
sure.
powerful. So
For
then,
sure.
then, similar to how things that are easy to do or easier not to do, you may figure out that answer. And you may be like, you know what? Yep, it's time for us to do webinars, or it's time for us to do evergreen webinars, the automated webinars, or it's time for us to do live trainings like this that we're on tonight. But then what doesn't happen is you don't pull out your phone and put it in the calendar.
Yeah.
Right? So we had this appointment scheduled for this time, and both of us were here at this time. Why? Because it was important enough to go in our calendar. Let me ask you a question. If you think something has the potential to 10x your results, would that qualify as something that's important to you in your business?
Absolutely. I'm going to answer for you because this is an engaged event, and absolutely. And I just want to say to everybody that's watching, Tom, and I don't know if you've ever watched any of my stuff, but I call it the money-making activities.
There you go.
So every time I take on a new digital client, what I do is I say, we're going to focus on your money-making activities. We're not going to focus on anything other than that. And everything else, the minimum wage activities, they can be outsourced. We can hire someone else. So money-making activities. And I just love the way you're putting it, because although I know a lot of this stuff, I feel like you're my mentor in the moment. And, I know that you call yourself the mentor to the mentors, but I have to tell you, you continue to remind me of what matters, right? And I love when you said, anybody who doesn't do number 1 is not going to go do number 2. So thank you for all of that, and really pressing upon us the importance of not allowing COVID and all these other things and the transformations to really shut us down and remind us that we still have the power within ourselves to continue to propel ourselves forward in our business, and just by doing these simple steps. And thank you so much for being with us tonight. And I know you're not done yet, but I'm so grateful that you're on. And please tell us some more. Oh, yeah, by the way, we had a technology issue, and that can't even stop you. Even when everything seems glim and blue and, storms are coming upon you, you have to push forward. Yeah.
Keep pressing forward, right? So now that you got the answer, and this is your money-making activity, number 1, what's the one thing that we're not doing that answers the question, what do I need to start doing? It's not a list of another 5, 10 things. It's the one thing that you've discerned has the potential to 10x your business, and you feel it's time for us to begin implementing that. So you pull out your calendar and you schedule it for an hour. I'd recommend an hour a week. Just step back and think to yourself, if this truly has the potential to 10x my results, is it worth me allotting an hour? 100% yes, absolutely. And guess what? Maybe it doesn't 10x your results. Maybe it only doubles your results. Boo-hoo, right? You go from 100,000 to 200,000. You go from 500,000 to a million. It didn't 10x me. No. Okay. 2x is not too shabby, right? So that's question number 1. And now I'm going to keep this tight. I could stretch this training out too long. We're going to hit this tight and powerfully here. So it's question number 2 is, what do I need to do more of? What do I need to do more of? So this goes back to that list that we all are going to do of itemizing all those different tasks that you do related to your business on a given month. And now we're going to narrow it down to the 3, maybe 4. I'd recommend 3, but sometimes 4 of what Dan Sullivan calls your unique abilities. So in that list, you go back to that list and you ask yourself, in this upcoming 30 days, if I was only allowed to do one of those things that's on that list, out of the list of hundreds of things, one thing that's going to keep the business running and growing, what is that one thing? And what you're asking is basically, what's the absolute best use of my time, right? Of all these tasks, which is the one that's the most important? A big rock. You may have heard, the big rocks. This is the big rock that if I don't do this, the business isn't going to grow as much as it could. So this is the big rock that if I couldn't do anything but this one thing, the business would continually stay afloat and grow. So it's going to take some discernment. And you're like, oh, Tom, there's so many different things. I get it. We all get that answer, but you need to narrow it down to one. And
what are some of those examples? Do you have any examples for that?
Absolutely. So offer creation, right, is one. Like there's an old adage that says the marketer with the most offers wins. So what am I creating this month as my new offer, right? What's my new offer? And sometimes that entails casting the net wider as far as how can I get my message of who I am and how I serve people to a wider net. So sometimes that's being on podcasts. Sometimes that's being on live shows like this as a guest. Sometimes that's hosting live. It's a whole bunch of different examples that come into the product creation, offer creation element.
Perfect.
That's one example of many.
Got it.
So looking at your list of all those things that you created in the very beginning, what's the one thing, if you're only allowed to do one, that would continue to keep your business going and growing? And then the good news is you don't get just one. What's the second thing? And what's the third thing? And if need be, what's the fourth thing? But I would recommend 3 to narrow it down, because that's going to give you clarity. Remember what we talked about. Lack of clarity is the root of all failure. When you gain clarity, you will now have the root of all your success. So the 3, maybe 4, right? So now, same thing. If they're important and you've identified them as the most important activities, would that be fair to say that you'd want to schedule them in your calendar? Yes.
Absolutely.
Right. Yes. So you now take out your calendar. You've already scheduled the 1 hour of what do I need to start doing on a weekly recurring basis. And now you're going to schedule in the 3 to 4 activities that are, in essence, the 20% of the 20%. So think about it like this. So we all heard of the Pareto principle, 80-20. 20% of your activities produce 80% of your results. So out of a list of 100 things, you got 20 things that produce 80% of your results. Out of those 20 things that produce the 80%, what are the 20% of those, which gives you 4 out of 20 that produce 80% of that 20? Does that make sense? So in essence, this is 2 levels deep of the 80-20 principle. So if you had, let's say, 100 tasks that you do on a given month, you'd narrow it down to the top 20. Then now you're narrowing it down to the top 20% of those 20, which give you your 4 unique abilities. These 4 activities. So if, back in the day, did you ever watch Johnny Carson where he had the plate spinners on the pole and they're spinning the plates? You're the plate spinner of 100 tasks currently. What I'm bringing it down to is now you're only going to be spinning 4 plates, plus 3 of your unique abilities, plus the what do I need to start doing. Who thinks that if you're spinning 100 plates and you went down to 4, you'd be pretty good at it? In essence, you'd be really, you'd be chill. You wouldn't be stressed out. You wouldn't be having the plates drop. But you're now focused on the most important things. And you may remember that big rock analogy with the smaller rocks and the sand and the water. We're narrowing down to those big rocks and really getting you clear on what are the best use of your time activities. All right, so we answered the first question, what do I need to start doing? We've answered the second question, what do I need to do more of? We've taken the follow-up step and we put it into our calendar. And I will add this caveat. And I've done this, and maybe you've done this in your past before, where I used to have recurring appointments that I would blow off if it was an appointment with me. I would never blow off an appointment that I made with anybody else, but I would blow off those important appointments with me, who, if ironically, there's no one more important in my life than me. There's no one more important in your life than you. And so just like you're a man or woman of your word and wouldn't blow off your hero if you had an appointment scheduled with them because it's that important, you've identified the most important activities to grow your business ridiculously large and exponentially. Don't blow this off. When you put appointments in your calendar, don't put it in if you're going to blow it off. Does that make sense? Put it in and make it as if you're going to meet with your hero, whoever that hero is for you, whether it's Tony Robbins or Sir Richard Branson or whomever your hero is. When you make an appointment with yourself, especially these that we're talking about here tonight, very important ones you've identified are important, do not blow yourself off. All right. And I'm saying it because I've been there where I'd have these recurring, and then guess what happens? Now I'm beating myself up. Like, I know that's important. And why am I blowing that off? And Jackie, I'm guilty. Yeah. Right. We're human, right? That's something that we go through. But now I make it a point where, look, if I'm not serious about the appointment I'm putting in my calendar, I'm not booking it. I won't tell someone I'm going to be there if I know I'm not going to be there. And the same thing applies to me. I won't tell myself I'm going to be there if I'm not going to be there. So
I do love that you actually had an interview not too long ago and you said something along the lines of you started to put yourself first. And
Cool.
for me, that was exactly the biggest game changer for myself.
Yep.
And because I put myself first, and you also mentioned something that I actually practice every day, all day, giving without wanting anything in return and being attached. And how those two come together is because I would put an appointment and I can meet someone else's appointment, but I'd never meet my own. I've never said, this is time for me, this is time for the children, or this is time for whatever, right? Those appointments I would reschedule, no problem. So now I try to focus on holding the bar the same, right? So if I'm going to meet with Tony Robbins, I'm going to meet with myself. I'm as important as those people, right? And then the other thing that I love that you share that applies to what you're even saying right now is not only keeping these appointments, but making sure that you're putting yourself, and by putting yourself first, you're essentially putting that very first question, which is, what am I supposed to be doing? What is the money-making activity that I'm supposed to be doing? And you catch yourself going to the post office and all of a sudden you're saying to yourself, why am I at the post office for the third million time if I already agreed that someone else would go for me? So yeah, I love everything that you're sharing. Thank you so much, Tom.
And then that leads right to the question number 3. So we already talked about the first 2 questions. Question number 3, and you'll love the answer to this. What do I need to do less of? What do I need to do less of? And here's the answer. Everything else on that list. So remember in question 2, we narrowed it down to what are the 3 things that you need to do more of. What do I need to do less of is everything else on the list. Now, whoa, time out, Tom. That other stuff still needs to get done too. Yes, I hear you, but check this out. Here's the coolest part about this whole awesome strategy. Magically, you recognize, because you've done the work, you created that blank sheet of paper and listed out all those things, handwritten them out, and now you've identified your most important 3 tasks, which are your big rocks, you're going to do more of, you schedule them in your appointment, and you know the others are not as important. And so guess what happens in your mind? If you're looking at, well, shoot, I know I've got these things scheduled, but I got to get all this other stuff, but they're not as important. But when I do choose to do them, I'm going to make a checklist out of them. I'm going to make it to where I can delegate that, I can outsource that, I can systemize that, I can automate that so that it still gets done, but not by me, right? So the post office is a perfect example. Like, so yeah, it's still getting done, but I figured out ways to get it done without it being me in my time because I've created a checklist and a system that can be outsourced or delegated to friends, family, teammates, et cetera. And depending on the task, depending on the different elements of the list, some of it can be outsourced, delegated, systemized, processed, all that. But it happens almost magically because when you do it, you're like, all right, it's going to take me an extra 5 minutes, but I'm going to create this checklist, which now I'll never have to do this again. And magically, that list goes from being that huge, insurmountable bear of a list to now manageable and very outsourceable and very efficiently done without you having to do it. And I'm not sure if I'm here alone now or if you just made the screen bigger. There you are.
I just made the screen bigger because you got so much stuff to share.
Like, all right, cool. All right,
and I don't want to interrupt you. I mean, I'm feeling the energy, and we had somebody comments actually earlier, and they were like, let me look for it. They say like, oh, no, not that one. Sorry. This one. It's loving Tom's energy. So I was like, let me let him take the floor on these last 2 because like I'm even writing notes. I'm not lying when I'm saying I'm writing notes because, although I'm a big fan of systems, I just want to say now I do everything system based and systematically for me, that just leverages my time and my energy. So, thank you so much for sharing that. But I'm going to leave you a moment. That doesn't mean I'm gone. I'm just listening.
Right, good. Technology happens, right? We just still trucked on, but it's good to see I'm not here solo. All right. So we talked about the first question. What do I need to start doing? The one thing that has a potential to 10x my results. You narrowed it down from the top 3 possibilities to the one. You've scheduled it in your calendar. Now we talked about question number 2. What do I need to do more of? The 3 things that are your unique abilities, the big rocks that out of the hundreds of things that you could be doing, these are the 3 things that'll keep the business going and growing. You scheduled them into your calendar, you're going to do it. So you got those 3 things plus the 4th, so 4 hours a week dedicated. And here's what happens is it's like, holy cow, now that I'm given these things, the needle moving activities, my time, attention, and focus, holy cow, the less I work, the more my company grows. I mean, from 4 hours of dedicated activity of what we just talked about will produce ridiculously large amounts of results for you and your business. Then when we incorporate question number 3, what do I need to do less of? Everything else on your list. And now it just switches something in your mind. Like, look, I know this isn't the best use of my time, but I've got the other big rocks done. Now I'm going to roll up my sleeves and knock these things out in a systemized process way to where when I'm done with it, it now has a step-by-step process that can be handed off to somebody else or automated, and it will be still done, but not by me anymore. Then we get to the 4th question. And the 4th question digs into some personal and professional stuff. And the 4th question is, what do I need to stop doing? It ends there, but I say altogether. What do I need to stop doing altogether? And there's a couple different scenarios. Who remembers the movie Office Space? The whatever report that his boss had him make on it, and he's like, oh, I hate this report. The report's useless. It's not even needed. No one uses it, but they make me do this stupid TPQ, whatever the heck the name of that report was. And we in business sometimes have stuff like that, where when we started, we did this thing, and years have passed, and we still do it, and we've never looked at these things and said, is this even necessary anymore? I know we've been doing it for a long time, and this all comes from looking at that sheet of paper. What do I need to stop doing altogether? When you're listing those out, you're like, why do I still do that? I mean, it served a purpose years ago, but that chapter ended. I need to stop doing that. So that's one element. In business, there's a lot of times that we just keep, the TPS report, there it is, Nicole, good job, the TPS report. Get rid of the TPS reports in your business. There's no need for it. It's time wasters. So when you're looking at the list of things that you do on a given month, when you find those things, it'll be clear as day to you. Like, you know what? Why do I do that? We were done with that years ago, yet I still put time into it on a weekly basis, monthly basis, and I don't think it's needed anymore. And that frees you up to just like, you know what? That's not needed anymore. That's not needed anymore. That's not needed anymore. So what do I need to do less of? Now we're on, what do I need to stop doing altogether? What do I need to stop doing altogether? And so then the other thing related to business is, what do I need to do altogether, stop doing, is there's time wasters. And look, this thing, our phones, our computers, can be very powerfully used when used properly, but can also be huge time wasters when used improperly. And so for each of us, we have something, and hey, look, I'll talk about some real world big boy and girl examples of time wasters, big time. And I'm doing this from my client recollection. I have people that invest thousands of dollars per month to work with me. So $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month to get me to help them grow their businesses. And I have very well-known, very well-respected individuals in their related fields and niches. And I've heard, I'm not just their business coach. I hear the stuff that their spouses don't even hear. Like, I know about their drug addictions. I know about their porn addictions. I know about their alcohol addictions. I know about their mistresses. I know about their stuff, right? And what I'm here to tell each and every one of you is, yes, from a business perspective, but more from a life perspective, the great equalizer is time. And whether it's drugs, alcohol, porn, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, dating. I have millionaire friends that are married with families that have they spend swiping on these stupid dating apps, right? So it's different for everybody. And I'm not saying this in a judgmental manner. It's just a matter of, look, it's time to be a big boy or a big girl and recognize time is our most precious and ever fleeting asset. And here's a little nugget for you. Talking about swiping. So whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or dating apps or porn sites or whatever the heck, games. I have multimillionaires that, finally I had this multimillionaire and I'm like, look, man, something you're not telling me. I'm wondering if he's got a mistress or if something, I'm like, something's not adding up, man, because you're a man of your word, but you're not following through with what you said you're going to follow through with. He's like, man, I got something that I'm going to tell you. I've never told anybody. And I'm expecting, who knows what, and I was, look, I've seen it all. Nothing's going to shock me. But I was shocked. His big reveal was he's addicted to a video game. And some of you may be laughing, but it's no joking matter. The video game was ruining his business, was ruining his marriage, was ruining, I can't say ruining because I don't like the word, his relationship with his kids, and ruining his self-esteem with himself, of not being someone who's following through with his promises to his business, to his family, and to himself over video games. So yeah, there's porn and there's drugs and there's this other stuff, but this is an all-encompassing thing. There's multi-billions of dollars of the most cutting-edge psychological, addicting, behavior-forming tools in social media and in our phones. And regardless of what it is, you need to grow up and say, you know what? I'm done with this time-wasting activity. It's not getting me to my dreams and goals. And it's different for each and every one of you. And I've made choices in the past. And 2+ years ago, I just gave up drinking. Not that I would get dropped down drunk on a regular basis, but I just realized, look, I don't like waking up feeling that way. I don't like the time and energy and that just sucks too much time, energy, and stuff away from me. I'm done with it, and just stopped. And that's one of many examples where it's like, look, it's time to be a big boy or a big girl and realize time is my most precious and ever fleeting asset, and I'm done with that time wasting activity. So what is that for you? And it may be some of those things that are on the list, but it's more of a personal introspection of where are those time-wasting activities sucking away the progress to help you grow as a person, help you grow your company. Uninstall Pokemon Go, right? Right. Well, and hey, look, I got kids, and man, oh man, talk about. I mean, I grew up playing Space Invaders and all that other stuff on the Atari, and then Nintendo and stuff like that. I mean, but nowadays, Call of Duty and these basketball games and these other games, it's sucking a lot of time away from teenagers, but there's a lot of adults that it sucks a lot of time away from too. And I've dealt with a lot of well-known individuals who, like I said, I know their dirty laundry, and I'm not here to air their personal dirty laundry, but it's the whole gamut. And a lot of times it's video games. A lot of times it's dating apps. A lot of times it's stuff that just is ridiculous. Here's a mathematical equation for you. Little fun can become addicting. Well, you're right. And it's just a matter of each of us recognizing what's a fun to a degree versus an escape/addiction. All right. So swiping on your phone, think about this. Swiping on your phone aimlessly for 30 minutes a day, 365 days a year, 30 minutes a day. I think all of us will agree that's not that much. That equals 4.5 40-hour work weeks in a year of swiping 30 minutes a day. If you swipe an hour a day, which isn't unreasonable, and it's not like you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe they swipe an hour a day aimlessly. 9 work weeks, 9 40-hour work weeks in a year. Keep that in mind. If you watch Netflix, 1.5 hours, 2 hours a day, 2 hours a day would be 18 work weeks out of a 52-week year. Think about this.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just got to come back and chime in on that because
right.
I want to say, and I want to show this book really quick, and I'll put it in the link below, but I want to show this book. And you can't see it because there's green in it, but maybe you can see the title. The title is Addictive Thinking. I don't know if you've read this at all.
I haven't.
Have you read this before? So basically, I want to just share on what, and just enhance and really put some attention into what Tom is saying right now, because why I picked up this book is because what I realize is that we're all addicted. And my theory is we're all addicted. It's just we choose our poison, right? We essentially, just because we're not doing drugs or we don't have a mistress or whatever the case may be, it doesn't mean we're not addicted. We're addicted whether it's to our television. I mean, you're talking about Netflix. How many people don't watch, actively binge watch when they could be doing the money-making activities, right? Or how actively are you watching others on Facebook? Like, funny enough, I don't watch anyone on Facebook because I'm too busy working on Facebook. And, people make fun of me all the time because they're like, oh, you don't know how to do this one thing on Facebook? I said, no, because that thing doesn't pertain to business-related activities. If it's a business-related activity, then I can teach you that. However, I wanted to share this book, and again, I'll share it later, because one of the things that was robbing time from me and that really affected my business was I was really not addicted to anything. I'm addicted to work. Honestly, that's my addiction. However, my addiction that was affecting my work quality and my effectiveness was the thoughts of being sad. And I have like a really, really open communication with people watching me here. I had a lot of abuse, sexual, everything, you name it. So my mind was always thinking that. And it was always retrospecting or trying to, in the midst of trying to avoid it, I was too busy thinking it. So an addiction can be as easy as your thoughts. What are your thoughts thinking about, doing, or saying? So yeah, please continue with whatever you have, because like Nicole said, you've just condensed this into just golden nuggets. And I would have to say diamond nuggets, because golden just stinks nowadays. Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
Well, my last name is Beal. So years ago, when I first crossed paths with you guys years ago, I was the $1 million Beal. But millions don't go as far as I thought, so I had to make the alliteration. Now I'm the $1 billion Beal. Billions aren't anymore. It's billions, right? So we got it.
It's like in that movie. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Social Network, right. Social Network.
Yeah, where he's like, where he says, "You have the wrong dream, Tom."
Well, okay.
So every time people tell me I want to be a millionaire, I'm like, "No, buddy, that's the wrong dream. That's not going to go so far. So you better up that." And did you see the new post with the new billion? Or the new trillionaire? Who was that? It's on Entrepreneur TV right here. We posted it, and I don't remember if it's Bezos or if it's one of the other guys, but close to being a trillionaire, Tom. So now we have the wrong dream, Tom. It's not B with a B anymore, right? It's
so the $1 billion Beal has to change to $1 trillion Tom.
Exactly. There you go. I love it. Yeah. Well, let us continue with your.
All right. So this is it. So look, I actually went a little longer than the time that we allotted, but I feel the value is coming there. To everybody, I appreciate the comments. I want you to take this and run with this. So these are the 4 questions that all start after you take that first step, which is taking the blank sheet of paper and writing down all of the things that you do related to your business in a given month. And going through and answering the question number 1, what do I need to start doing that has the potential? The one thing that has the potential to 10x my business. Second question, what do I need to do more of? The 3 things on that list of things that you currently do that are the big rocks. And you schedule the thing you need to start doing, and you schedule those 3 things into your calendar. And now that you're gonna proactively handle those, you'll realize, wow, I'm putting time and attention towards those. The business is going to take off, because what you give attention to grows, and you're giving attention to the big rocks and that potential to exponentially grow your business. Then the third question, what do I need to do less of? Everything else on that list. And then when you do it, you're recognizing it's not the best use of your time. So while you're doing it, you're going to create a system, a process. You're going to be able to automate it, delegate it, systemize it, all that, so that it's going to get done, but without you having to do it anymore. And then it was Bezos. Tom can be the Beal deal, $1 trillion deal. Yes, the real deal, $1 trillion Tom. right. Awesome. Thanks, Nicole. And then the 4th question, what do I need to stop doing altogether? Some of the tasks in business, they were important at a time, but their seasons have passed. And then we have to take a look at our life holistically. What are other areas of our life that I'm just done with? Like, it just no longer, it doesn't, what used to be joyous to me no longer is joyous. Matter of fact, it's more of a burden. What am I going to cut the ties with so I can be more in alignment with my thoughts, words, and actions that are getting me from where I am to where I want to be? What do I need to stop doing altogether? And when you put those in place, you'll recognize the less you work, the more you make. And this is, I'm named this the quiver of clarity. And this gives you a fulfillment of that first quote we started with. Lack of clarity is the root of all failure. Now you're going to have clarity, which is going to give you the root of all your success. You'll know what the best use of your time is. You'll know what's yours to do each and every day to move forward from where you are to where you want to be. So this has been the training. I appreciate the opportunity to come here and meet you all. I do have some free gifts. I think you mentioned your people like free gifts.
Everybody likes free gifts. I don't know what's with that.
So, and they weren't free. So in this whole new era that we have transitioned to, I have a page that has a huge amount of courses and interviews that I've done that all have price tags on them. But when this whole transition occurred, I said, you know what? I'm going to give these all away for free. I'm going to give them all away for free. So they have price tags there on them. And when you click on it, you'll see there's a way to get free access. And I do
want to say that you're being super modest. Yeah, for those of us that are watching right now, and I have to remind everybody, and I said that at the beginning of this interview, I said, I invested my very first at $10,000 per person to go to an event like what Tom is talking about. And I know, Tom, you've invested hand over fist on dollars everywhere, all over the world. I know I've seen you on the other side of the ocean as well.
Yep.
And so when Tom is telling you that these are free gifts, and thank you so much for doing this for us, because, not everybody's giving away free gifts, and that's important, because
Yep.
some of the things that people are giving away nowadays, you still have to kind of pay for it, right? You're still paying like $5, $20 a month or whatever. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing for us today. So please give us that link so I can share it with the world.
Sure. So it's at tombeal.com/present. tombeal.com/present. All of them there are free except one. There's one that's there that's my opus. It's the $2,000 course that in the first week that we launched it, it produced over $500,000 in sales at $2,000 a piece. It had over 230, over 23 countries that joined within the first week, and it impacted the world. It's incredible. So it went from 2,000. So all of them are free. This one went from 2,000. I'm discounting it to 500. But I'm saying that, so when you go there, and if you choose to go that route, it's going to change and transform. It takes hold of your most precious asset of time. How to achieve more in 12 weeks than most do in 12 months. And when you take advantage of that at $500 and you reply saying, I'm a friend of this program, I'm going to give you an additional hour of time with me, which a 1 hour time with me to buy one at a time is $1,500. People that buy 4 in a month, they pay $3,000 for 4 in a month. So it's a real world value of time with me to point you in the right direction. But that's if you choose to go that route. Everything else on there is free, to include interviews with Dr. Joe Vitale, to include people that have earned hundreds of millions of dollars on there, and include numerous courses that I have on there. They have price tags on them. Everything on the page is free except for that one course, which is highly discounted. And if you reply and let me know you're a friend of this show's, you're going to get an additional hour with me, which is another $1,000 value. So it's all there.
That's incredible. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So there you go. So my way of paying it forward, and I'm honored to be a part here. So let me know that you're a friend of Entrepreneur Television, and you will gain that extra hour with me, and we will rock it in the upcoming months and years. So